From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson, joined by my dear friend on the phone lines.
The hardest, baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV, the man with the plan, the power, the power for the hour. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Hector Bosa. Can you believe that? I am the man with the plan and the power for the hour.
Yeah,
wow.
you just don't know what that plan is.
Oh, of course I know what the plan is. I had to stop a couple of girls from jumping me just now because I have to do this show. Because the ratings go up when I'm on the show. Ratings.
Jumping you or beating you up?
The ratings go up. The ratings. The CTV ratings go up. Management gets full of themselves. They want me out, but they always bring me back in because they know what's best for business.
Must you think so highly of yourself?
Why not?
Because it's
Why not?
Because it sets a bad precedent for you.
Everybody should think like me. Things would be great in the world.
No.
So
anyway.
Let's get into business, my friend. Now, we've got the Yankees and the Mets doing pretty good so far. They're splitting the teams up.
Mm-hmm.
And Cespedes is actually trying to make a comeback, showcasing himself. Now, what have you heard of Cespedes, and has he done anything, and what's his look so far?
Well, it looks like he's kept himself in great shape, and he's come back from his injuries. The only thing is he going to do a showcase where he can take a couple of swings in the cage, and a bunch of teams who get invited want to be able to look at the guy, or does his agent just call around to see if anybody's looking for a spare outfielder?
Well, he was displaying his talent so far for people.
Mm-hmm.
For people so far. And I don't know if they're jumping on this guy or not. I'll put it to you like this. With you,
I still think he can help somebody.
Would you go back to the same team, the Mets?
That's going to be hard because
the 1-year contract.
That's going to be a little bit hard because the Mets are kind of set in the outfield. I mean, they've got Conforto and Nimmo and Dominic Smith, and they also signed Kevin Pillar just recently to be a backup outfielder.
Yeah, but he's a power hitter.
He's a power hitter, but at the same time...
He's no Dave Kingman. Well, he's sort of Dave Kingman because he strikes out more than he hits home runs. But when he gets you there...
Tell you what, I actually think that the guy was better than Dave Kingman because Kingman was such a one-dimensional guy, whereas Cespedes is more of a run producer.
This is true. This is true, and I never understood when they used to do the shift on all these guys, and somehow or another, these guys used to get base hits even with the shift. Jason Giambi, all them players, all those so-called mediocre players that are out there, they used to get hits and everything. So, what do you say? I mean, if you're going to hit, no matter what position you're in, you're gonna hit. You're a hitter's hitter,
right?
But right now, what team do you think would take Cespedes if he's on good terms with himself?
You mean if he's 100% healthy?
Yeah. What team do you think would take him?
I actually think that there's one team that wouldn't mind doing a reunion with him, the Oakland Athletics. And Cespedes said it himself a few years ago, and he kind of caused a little trouble for himself when he said this. He said that when the time comes, he would love to do a reunion with Oakland. But right now,
Right.
a team that's in desperate need of a power-hitting outfielder or a bat would need to be the one that would want Cespedes. My opinion is that team would be Oakland.
Your opinion, what was that again? I'm sorry.
My opinion is that it would be the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, because they're stuck for 2 years. But even with that, even what they did to them, they're still a good team.
Mm-hmm.
So, on that note, did the Oakland Athletics, did they really harm the Oakland Athletics, or, did the penalty fit the crime?
What do you mean exactly?
Well, remember, they were caught cheating, stealing signs.
Oh, okay.
So for 2 years they lost their draft choices.
I think you're talking about Houston, aren't you?
Didn't the A's get it too?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm talking about the wrong thing. But I could have sworn the A's were another team.
But there was definite sign stealing among a couple of teams. The Astros were one. The Red Sox, if I'm not mistaken, were another. And there was even fingers being pointed at the Yankees that maybe they were stealing signs, although I really don't believe it.
Well, I can say this much. What was it? Alberto, the guy from the California Angels.
Oh, you mean Albert Pujols?
Yeah, he said he may retire, but he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. This is a crucial year for him. Ever since he signed that big contract with the Angels, they've been so hamstrung because of all the money that they've had to pay him. You know how many...
Look at the way the Yankees have with that other dude.
The same way with Giancarlo Stanton, right.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus. I mean, again, the guy is good when he's there and he's not hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been more hurt than on the field. He hasn't really... Has he produced anything since he's been with the Yankees?
I think he had one 30-home run season ever since he got traded to the Yanks. But other than that, he's spent probably more time on the disabled list than he has in the batter's box.
Now, that's a damn shame. Yeah, that's a damn shame. But all in all, now, you've studied the team so far. On paper, who's going to have the strongest teams this year, and who's the weakest right now going on paper?
Right now, let's start with the least common denominator, and that's the Chicago Cubs. They've lost a couple of people, and because of that, I think they might be a middle-of-the-road team this year. As far as who's the strongest, the easy answer would be the Yanks, but I think if you look elsewhere, I think Atlanta cannot be counted out. I think Philadelphia is going to be a little bit better. St. Louis, I think, is going to be very strong. The Dodgers are going to be very, very strong this season. Probably the team that's improved the most is, and you'll be surprised to hear this, it's San Diego. They added a plethora of pitching to their staff in the offseason. Now, is that going to translate to 95 to 100 wins on the field? Who knows? But at the same time, excuse me, at the same time, San Diego right now looks like the team to look out for in the National League. In the American League, people have been saying some really good things about the Detroit Tigers. And having seen them earlier in the afternoon, I think their starting pitching is going to be pretty solid. And they actually got a little bit stronger at catcher, adding the ex-Met Wilson Ramos. But as far as who's going to be the top dog in the American League, don't count out Oakland.
4 teams in each division, because the Yankees are automatic. Houston's always automatic.
Don't count out Tampa, though.
Be automatic.
Don't count out Tampa. Tampa beat the Yankees in a short series last year, and they went all the way to the World Series.
But were they supposed to, on paper, were they supposed to make it? That's the other thing. On paper.
On paper, no, they weren't.
See, that's the thing. On paper, the Yankees seem very strong. Athletics seem very strong. Even the Mets seem strong this year, too.
Mm-hmm.
And the Braves are always strong.
Yeah.
So you got the first 3 or 4. Boston, what do you think of Boston?
I think Boston's got a couple of good young players that they can showcase. But other than that, I think they're going to be a middle-of-the-road team this season.
Have you heard of any blockbuster trades that may happen in baseball right now?
Not that I've heard of, no.
Nah, neither have I. But I've heard things. Have you heard it in hockey, such as the Islanders or Rangers?
Nothing involving the Isles or the Rangers that I've been
They're
made
doing
aware
very
of.
well, I might add.
The Islanders are playing pretty decent hockey right now. They're coming off a win against Pittsburgh. The Rangers, they're pretty much showing off their youth, if you will. They've only gotten to, 7 wins against 12 total losses this year. The Devils have been a real disappointment this season.
And can we talk about the Devils? Because everybody forgets that the Devils still are a good team.
The Devils are still in existence.
Oh, they're an existing team? They're not doing that well.
They do have some really good players, though. Nico Hischier, who they just made captain. PK Subban, a veteran who should be able to add a little something in the locker room. As far as goaltending is concerned, Mackenzie Blackwood, I don't think is terrible, but I think could show a little more improvement.
Well, so far the top 3 teams in the leagues, who's the top dogs in each division there? Or what's the division is?
Pittsburgh, I think, is the top team in the Eastern Division. And this after the fact that they were on the verge of breaking up the whole team. But this just goes to show you that as long as Sidney Crosby is still around and Chris Letang and Evgeny Malkin, as long as that trio is still around, the Penguins are going to be really, really dangerous. So I think Pittsburgh is the top dog in the East. Tampa, which is the defending champion, still going strong in the South Division. And then there's the North Division, which consists of all the Canadian teams. I think it's Edmonton who's been really putting a fuel to the fire. And as far as the North Division, I think St. Louis is up there.
Has there any team that has let you down in hockey right now?
Any team that's let me down in hockey right now? I think Philadelphia has probably not exceeded expectations.
And do you see any Cinderella teams coming out?
If you're talking about a team that might sneak up on somebody,
Yeah.
I would probably say the Vegas Golden Knights. They're pretty much close to a complete team right now. They've got goaltending. They've got strong. They got strong play at the skill positions, and I think Vegas is going to be making some noise by the time the playoffs start around May or so.
Well, I'll tell you this much. As you know, you got your fans back.
Yeah.
Rangers scored how many? I think, 8 points or 12 points one game?
Mm-hmm.
And the fans are back, even though they're social distancing and they're actually practicing mask wearing.
Yeah.
But
the question is, how long is this going to last? How long before we get sellout crowds again?
Or getting people in?
Getting people in. How long are we going to have to put up with seeing 10% capacity of fans before we see sellout crowds again?
Well, my estimation, 2023.
Oh, wow.
2022, towards the end of 22, beginning of 20. Because remember, this is not the common cold where you can just get your shot and go, okay, we got our shot. Now it's time for us to. No, it's something very vicious out there that people got to realize is in existence. Mm-hmm. And the people that kill me is the ones that they go, well, if I die, I die. Why would you want to die?
Yeah.
It's a damn thing. It's not a conspiracy theory, according to some folks. So, do what you have to do and be careful about your surroundings. If you're not worried about yourself, worry about others around you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I said, if you're not worried about people around you, because people forget that they're worried about themselves, and they're not worried about people around them. They go, well, I'm fine. It's like everything else in the world. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going on with Leonard Williams?
Yeah,
he's got a grievance.
Yeah,
the National Football, the NFLPA grievance reported resolved creating certain franchise tag violations. Now that's something that basketball even had too.
Mm-hmm.
And baseball, where the Mariners guy, that they held people down because they want to make more money. That's been going on for years. I mean, and they finally caught up. They finally caught up with them, and then say, "Oh, this is bad now." All of a sudden, this has been going on for years. I mean, what have you got to say about this? And what do you think about the old saying, "The inmates are running the asylum"?
You're right. They've been saying that phrase for years, although I'm not too sure it applies to football players here. I mean, these guys are men with wives and children and come from families, hard-working families, and also come from an atmosphere where they really didn't have that much, and now they've come upon a lifestyle that is polar opposite to what they were used to when they were a kid.
Well, that's another thing too. That's another thing. You just hit it on the nose too. Whereas here they are making so much money, and instead of putting it away, even though they've gotten a lot smarter now, but people back in the 80s and 90s, they haven't put nothing away.
Yeah.
Haven't you noticed back then? And now the league is finally taking care of them. But I don't know. What do you think of the whole situation where you can't even say certain things anymore? Things that the inmates are running the asylum. They even use that in wrestling. You know? Oh, the guys in the back, the inmates are running the asylum. Oh, my God. You know, I mean, come on.
It's gotten to the point where people need to be careful what they say nowadays, because anything is going to spark either a controversy or anger or both.
People have gotten so soft to me that you can't even sneeze the right way.
Yeah.
Because let's say you say God bless you to someone. How do you know I believe in God? How dare you? They get offended by that. Instead of going, thank you very much, I appreciate it, no problem. But people are starting to get so offended to the point, is cancel culture really ruining things? I think to some point, yes. It's getting to a point where if we say something wrong, people are going to, even though this is cable access and you can practically say anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's stupid. It's like when those people decided, hey, I was playing it straight and narrow, and one person called, oh, he's acting like a drug in front of those kids. No, I wasn't. It's an act. And if you don't see that it's an act, and the parents were there too, why would the parents afterwards wouldn't be angry? People just like to complain about the dumbest thing in the world. It's like when I used to hear at WSRA, there's this one person that likes to hear the radio so they can catch you with your pants down, so they can complain. That's all they want. That's all because that's all they got. So this is what I don't understand about people. There are people out there that just want to do this. But I just find it very amusing that you can't even say. I mean, some of the things that have been said are terrible. Some of the things that have been said are terrible, and yes, they don't deserve a lot of things. But certain things, come on, at some point you gotta let it go. But what is considered proper and what is considered not proper. But so when the Leonard Williams situation.
You mean Leonard Williams, right?
That?
You're talking about Leonard Williams?
Yes.
Right. Basically, Leonard Williams says he wants to be known as a defensive end instead of a defensive tackle. And supposedly, this is going to jeopardize the Giants' chances of bringing him back.
He wants to be known as what's the difference? Now, explain to those people that don't know, what is the difference?
Defensive tackle is where you basically play the middle of the line, and defensive end is kind of sort of self-explanatory. You play the very left end or the right end of the line on defense.
Okay. So he's got a problem with wording.
Yeah, he does.
Now, do you think he makes a legit point? Or do you think he's going, or do you think that the man's going insane and he's taking it too far? Because they think, there's always been a problem with the veterans tag too.
Yeah,
That's always the franchise tag.
that's right.
People don't like the franchise tag.
Yeah, they do. They hate the franchise tag.
Now, explain. Do you know about it? Because if so, please explain it to the people that don't know about the franchise tag.
The franchise tag is a system in which a team picks a player who they want to designate as their quote-unquote franchise player, and they automatically extend their contract for at least a year. But the players don't like it because they want to be able to test out their free agency opportunities. That's the major complaint about the franchise tag. It takes away players' free agency opportunities, even though it only counts for 1 year.
Yeah, and they could always give it to the same person every year if they want to.
Yes, they would.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I remember it working too. Now, what is the good thing about having it, and what is the bad thing about having it?
The good thing about having it is you're able to have a guy under contract for at least 1 more year. The bad thing about it creates a lot of unhappiness by the player, and it takes away their free agency opportunities. And also, the franchise tag only guarantees a certain amount of money. For example, it could guarantee them maybe $5 million.
Oh, so it basically boils down to money.
Yeah.
Oh man, what doesn't boil down to money? Everything's starting to boil down to money. But I tell you, things. What's been the hottest story so far, in your opinion, in sports right now?
Tiger Woods' injuries that he suffered in his car accident.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it looks like he's slowly but surely on the road to recovery. But man, it looked like he was a goner. The way that car looked after that accident.
Yeah, but look what they did with him. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right away. Oh. Right away. He could have been drunk.
He could have been, but I think.
But I'm saying,
I think he knew better than that.
If you don't know the details, why are you going to tag the man already? Find out first. Don't go, he could have. Find out what could have happened first. Right away. It's like when you arrest someone and he did something 10 years ago, and they paint them as pictures if he did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was 10 years ago that he did that. Not now, you know? Yes, he had a problem back then, but does it mean that he has it now? No.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just funny. It's just funny. But he's been having surgeries, a lot of surgeries. And now the big question is
he going to be able to make a comeback from this?
Do you think he'll make the comeback, or is it too late to... Because they haven't really come out and said what he really has.
Yeah.
Have they?
I know he's got steel rods inserted in both of his legs. That's one thing.
Right. But they haven't really come out and said, okay. Oh, so they do know what he really has now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is in his legs.
Yeah, and your hips and your legs are the ones that give you the most power to do the swing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope for the best and expect the worst, I guess. You know.
Right.
Hopefully Lloyd's of London insured him.
I certainly hope so.
You know,
It's a little too early to speculate whether he's going to make that comeback to the green or not, but we can only hope and pray that he's able to go back to doing what he loves.
Yeah, I hope everything turns out well for him because he's needed. There aren't really that many golfers out there. He puts asses in seats.
Yeah, he does.
And there aren't too many people that do that. There's about two or three more golfers that do that. Other than that, everybody else, no. Not too many. Not too many. Not too many. Not too many people have done that.
Mm-hmm.
So far. But what do you think about LeBron now and those people that are saying he's going, again, with politics and sports? I know some people don't like to put one and one, two and two together, but now it's starting to be more and more. You're starting to hear it more.
I just love when people say stick to sports because it only shows their own hatred towards a particular athlete. And what I say to that is these athletes have a voice. They're going to use it. Whether we like it or not, it's going to be heard.
And there are some people out there that just don't want to be, it's not that they don't want to be reminded of it. They just want to see the sports. They just want to see the sports. They're trying to get away from, they're trying to escape. They're just trying to escape for 2 hours or whatever the sport is, and they just want to have a good time without having to worry about the national anthem, someone kneeling, someone doing this. They don't want to hear about political stuff.
This is
and
true.
I don't blame them for that point. I get that point. But if you got something to say it. How long has it been since Carl Kaepernick put down that knee? What was it?
This is going on
3 years ago?
This is going on 5 years now.
5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And they're still talking about it. Not as much as before.
Still hasn't found a job either.
Huh?
He still hasn't found a job either.
Yeah. Imagine that. Now here's where you go and say, if he was Caucasian, would he have had a job?
Of course.
So I'm trying to figure out what is the Football Association or their what are they doing for this man? I mean, I'm sure he's making money on the side. This man's got to be making money in some shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be making money in some shape or form. This man's got to be making money. There's no way you're going to sit outside. They must have paid him a boatload to keep his mouth shut because they probably had a clause in there where they said, we're going to give you this money, but you can't talk about it for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel bad for the man because he's just as good as any other quarterback in the league.
Yes, he is.
They just, I know people have differences of opinion when it comes to certain situations about, what was it, Cuban. Mark Cuban didn't want to put the national anthem. He didn't want to put the national anthem on.
Leave it to Mark Cuban to want to stir up trouble.
Right? Now, and then
although I can see,
I
kind of can see why he would want to omit the Star Spangled Banner because he has seen that there has been so much civil unrest, so much ugliness, and so much else that has been going on in this country. Why should he be forced into having the Star Spangled Banner played before the game?
Because he's unpatriotic, according to some people. If you don't play it, you're unpatriotic. Listen to that nonsense. If you don't play it, you're unpatriotic. Really?
Wow.
You're unpatriotic because you don't play it. Some people believe that. Some people say, you know what? I don't really need this. I just want to enjoy the game. So he's a guy, like in the old days of football, they never really played the national anthem. And now all of a sudden, we're playing the national anthem because we've been programmed to play it. And now, when Colin Kaepernick goes down on one knee, even though veterans said you can go down on one knee, it's not disrespectful. You got half the team going, yes, that's disrespectful. And you got the other half going, that's not disrespectful. You got people now, LeBron James coming out. You got a lot of people because of their platforms now that they can speak out a little more, that they can make a difference. Some people do make a difference. Now, whether they do it in the right way, positive way, or in the wrong way, that's up to you. But there's a lot of people out there that are trying to make a difference in their own way. But, you know how they say politics and religion don't mix?
Yeah.
Well, it's mixing. And that was supposed to be, even in the Constitution, you can't bring politics with religion and you can't mix it. But that's a whole different kettle of fish. But now that should the athletes now, since they have a better platform, should they come out, should they be speaking out more, in your opinion?
Of course. If they see something that they don't like, because these guys are not idiots. They look at social media. They look at the news. If they see something that they don't like, they're going to talk about it. I mean, look at what Draymond Green did, talking about how the players are being treated by the NBA.
How are they treated in the NBA? You tell me. What's
not as
on?
Great as they should be. Because keep in mind, NBA players make up, I would say, 80% of the workforce in that sport. The remaining 20% is people in the front office and also media and everything else.
Well, there aren't that many minority GMs and owners, but there's a lot of players.
Mm-hmm.
And
what are you
even
doing
in
the dishes over there, man?
Huh?
What, you doing the dishes over where you're at?
I'm doing dishes, cooking, and everything, so I apologize for the rudeness.
I see.
At least I can cook in more ways than one when I like to have fun.
Uh-huh.
But you know, it's getting to a point where can we talk about sports?
Can we talk about what's going on the court or on the field?
Without involving politics anymore?
I wish we could do that, but there's always going to be something that's going to pop up that's going to make the players have their voices heard.
And please tell me who's to say who's patriotic and who's not. Can you tell me those people that swear up and down that they're good religious people and they did that on January 6th? These are the great religious people for the country and so on. But I'm just trying to understand, because you have a lot of people that are saying that they're doing it for the greater good. And I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So The All-Star game. Let me ask you this: is the All-Star game? Is there any controversy going on in the All-Star game?
Not that I know of, no.
Thank goodness. So we're actually. And how is the league going to handle that?
Probably the same way that they handle every single All-Star game for the last 70 some odd years.
And how's that? Because they're supposed to have a big weekend show.
They're just gonna go about their business the same way that they usually do, which is have the State of the League address, and then have their All-Star festivities, which is the skills challenge, the three-point shootout, which, by the way, are going to be held just hours before the All-Star game, and then there's the slam dunk contest, which is going to be held at halftime.
Do you think they're rushing it?
Yeah, I think they are rushing it. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have it the day before the game, which is what they've done for many years. But
because, like I said, it's normally a festival weekend. They do it for the weekend. Do it for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They have the skills contest. Are they going to have everything, or are they going to skip a lot of things?
It looks like they're going to try and squeeze in everything for this extravaganza.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I tell you. Now, who is king in basketball? New York Knicks or the Nets?
You asked that before, and you're talking about who's the king of basketball here in the New York area.
Yep.
It's still the Brooklyn
right now,
Nets.
The Knicks are on a tear, baby. They're over 500. They got a great chance of making the playoffs on paper so far right now. Now, will the Knicks of old come in and make one of the stupidest trades in the world? Or did they learn from their past mistakes and go, oh, wait, I'm not going to do that anymore?
I'd like to think that they learned from their mistakes from the past and maybe not go ahead and do something hasty.
But this is the New York Knicks. So so my thing is, if they do it, don't be too surprised, ladies and gentlemen.
Just remember, sometimes the best trades are the ones that you don't make.
That's true. Now, should they make a trade?
If they're serious about being a contender, my answer is yes, but they have to find the right player.
Now, again, Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo there.
You mean Victor Oladipo?
Yeah, that one. They tried to get him to extend a 2-year contract, and he refused.
Mm-hmm. That leads me to believe that he wants out of Houston, and he might want to go somewhere where he actually fits into an offense, and also where he can be happy, and also where he could be comfortable in the city.
Could that be the New York Knicks?
At this rate, anything is possible.
Does that mean that there's actually a player? Would you call him a top-tier player?
Not a top-tier player. I think I'd call him maybe a second-tier player. He's a good player, though. He's a really good player.
He's an exceptional player, but he's no LeBron James.
No. He's not as athletic as LeBron is. He doesn't put up the flashy numbers like LeBron does, but Oladipo brings something to the table. He's a good three-point shooter. He's clutch. And unfortunately, his injuries have kind of sort of cast a shadow over him a bit.
But he's proven so far that he's come back.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? what the problem has always been, that they'll sign a 4 or 5 year contract, and 2 years afterwards, or the first year that they sign, boom, right away, they get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They get hurt for a year or two. Oh, did you hear about Porzingis too?
Yeah.
And they want to get rid of Porzingis. Did the Knicks do a good job getting rid of him?
I think they did.
There are people that still sniff him because he's still good enough, but again, is he Superman?
Not even close.
Or is he just? He's not. He's above average player. He's an above average player, but he can't. I mean, because remember, we had him as king of New York over here.
Yeah.
So, I agree. I mean, you have the Porzingis trade. You're still hearing Bradley Beal's name coming up.
Yeah.
He wants to stay in Washington.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why, though. The Wizards are dreadful.
Who's to say? Maybe he doesn't want to pick up his family. Maybe he's got a lot of businesses there. Who knows? Who knows? Sometimes you get used to playing in a certain area and you don't want to go. Why would you?
Mm-hmm.
You're used to playing in a certain facility, and that's it. But what trade do you think out there? Do you think the Nets will make another trade?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because...
And for whom? Who do you
center.
think logically they'll get?
Logically,
yeah.
I think they'll get a center.
Drummond? Because they're looking after Drummond.
Andre Drummond would be nice, but knowing how the Cavaliers did in that last three-way trade that they were involved in with the Nets and the Pacers, my guess is that the Cavaliers are going to want one of their younger players.
I mean, they should get a young player, but how much is too much? That's the thing. Remember, they have to go by salary. They got to do all this.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think of, again, the same thing that's happened in baseball where you're holding someone back? Remember that's happening with the Mariners? That practice been going on for a really long time. I know I hit this again, but I'm hitting it now again. Whereas you're holding a player back because you're going to make money off him. Instead of them wanting to win a championship, they're holding people back because they want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So, by sitting Drummond down, do you think that it's fair? His stock doesn't rise up because you don't see if he's going to play or not.
Right.
And Blake Griffin is another guy. He's trapped there because of his contract.
Yeah.
So now the league, all of a sudden the players are starting to sit around going, oh, this is unfair. This is an unfair practice. You should not hold a player back. If the guy's 18 or 30, if that position's available, then why don't you do it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a practice that's been going on for years. And because now we live in an era where there's so much technology and freedom of speaking your own words, with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, God knows what the results out there, Instagram, TikTok. There's so many platforms out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's more information, whether you agree with it or not. And then let's say the non-fans, or not saying the non-fans, the fans that think they know what they're talking about.
Right.
Or the non-professionals. They're weighing in, and they're going, but I know more than him. So, in that aspect, What do you think about all that? Holding back a player because they want to make more money. What do you think?
Not too thrilled about it at all. I mean, they should just let the guys play for as long as possible until a deal is struck or something, or until they could resolve his situation.
Because there are two trains of thought, and that is, if he gets hurt, you get no value for him.
Mm-hmm.
But if if he doesn't play, then you don't know what you're getting there, even though you just have an idea on what you're getting.
Right.
So do you think that's a fair practice, whether it's in baseball, football? Because you've heard that practice before. It's not the first time you've heard it.
They've been doing this for years. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. My answer to that is no, it's not unfair at all, because they're taking away a guy's ability to play. Plus, because of that, the guy is going to wind up a little bit rusty after a short while.
It's as if when your favorite player comes to your town and he doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're paying to see that player. But he needs rest. So what do?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's the thing. That's the thing that people, because remember, what's it boiled down to? Money.
Yeah.
They don't care about anything else except how am I going to make money? Like I said, the guy in the Mariners. I'm saying to him because he's the one that's been targeted the quickest, and he resigned very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
He resigned very quickly, and he should. He should, because I don't think you should hold a player down like that. If he's ready for the league, don't hold him down because of arbitration. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing. They're holding him down because of arbitration or something else that can happen in the long run. So you tell me. That's not a very good practice.
No, it's not. And they've been doing this for years.
They've been doing it for years.
Why can't they just let the guys play?
Because it's about the almighty dollar. It's about the almighty dollar.
Just for once, I would like to see guys think about something else other than money.
About the almighty dollar. That's all it boils down to. It boils down to the almighty dollar. And because, not that the players are innocent in this either, because they're trying to get as much money as they can. Both sides are equally. But I think the owners have an edge on this. It's as if, what was the other one? One guy said, if a guy wants to leave, then they should let him leave.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sign a contract, then if we don't want to trade you, what should you do? You're trying to talk to the guy saying, listen, you're going to have to play, because then if you dump, if you act like you don't want to play on the team, or you make us lose on purpose, then it's going to reflect bad on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So now you have people that are saying, like with the James Harden, there's one or two basketball players that came out and said, if the guy wants to leave, he should leave.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sign, let's say, a 5-year contract, should the owner leave? Should the owner, if he doesn't want to trade you, should he?
Well, we're seeing that in Houston with the Texans and Deshaun Watson. Watson wants out desperately. He said he wants nothing to do with the Texans anymore. He never wants to play another game for them ever again. And the Texans have shown that they're not going to trade this guy. They expect him to be in camp.
And legally, because he signed a contract, unless there's a clause in there, who's right and who's wrong?
In this case, I think the Texans have a slight edge over Deshaun Watson.
Because unless he's willing to sit out and give up that money, then the union is going to say, but they don't want to, they don't want to let go of my man to make money. But you signed a contract.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing stands about. That's like when a guy says, "I want to be traded," like Harden. I want to be traded to the Nets. But then they go, "We're going to trade you to Orlando." I don't want to go to Orlando. I want to go to the Nets. I don't care what you want. It's what's best for our team, not what you want.
That happened with Houston when they had James Harden. Harden made it clear he wanted to be a Net. Houston's their attitude was if they were going to make a deal, it was going to be to a place where they saw fit.
And that's the thing. But then in that equation, who's right and who's wrong? Because then you say, oh, well, they don't want to trade him. They're not trying enough to trade him to the team that he wants. You're gonna have some people saying that they're trying to trade him to the people that to the team that he wants. But then you figure, but what about the team itself?
Mm-hmm.
What about us? We got to get the right players for us. So how do you think that's going to go down with the Deshaun Johnson and
you mean
some
Deshaun
of the
Watson?
other folk?
I think eventually Watson is going to be going elsewhere because he made it loud and clear he does not want to be a Texan anymore. And I still see Deshaun Watson, if not as a Jet, maybe to Miami as a Dolphin.
What do you think of him landing with the Jets?
I think he'll solve the Jets' quarterback problems immediately.
And then they can go after somebody like an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman.
Or a receiver.
Yes. But do you think the Jets are smart enough to do that?
If they are smart enough, they'll try and do something to make a deal with the Texans.
Now, do they have the pieces to get him? Or do they have the pieces to get to trade for him?
I don't think so. Personnel-wise, no. Draft pick-wise, maybe.
And the other question is, I probably asked this before, but if a player wants to be traded, but you need that player, should you trade him? Unless he wants to sit out for the entire year or two.
If he's adamant enough about wanting to leave, then yes, they should explore all trade options. And we got 43 seconds left, so I'm going to say, Hector, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
hopefully nobody got offended.
I hope not.
What else is new?
Yep.
It's CTV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Nothing was said that was badly. It was just opinions given.
Yep. Thanks to Kenny Graham on the other side of the glass, and thanks to you guys for watching at home. So for everyone here, I'm Jamie.
I'm Hector.
We hope to see you next time. Good night, everyone.
All right.